Hello, friends. Hello, Patriots. Welcome into another edition of SBG News and Views. I'm your host, Robert Imbriali. I'm flying solo today. Lewis is still traveling, and like he said, he will be back on the show on Monday. But for today, I have a very special guest. Lee Milteer is with us today. And Lee Milteer, if you haven't heard of her, she's been part of our Truthathon. She's actually the reason that I know Lewis. What? Yeah. I told the story a few weeks ago, and it is really, she made this whole connection possible, and I'm here because of her. So, a little bit about Lee. Lee is an internationally known entrepreneur, best-selling author, an award-winning professional speaker, TV personality, and business mentor. And I know her from the business world, in the world of Dan Kennedy and marketing and all that, and I've known her for, I'm going to say 20 years is probably conservative. I've known her for quite a long time. Lee provides business and success advice and resources to nearly 250,000 people around the world. She is the founder of the Alchemist's Inner Circle, helping entrepreneurs and business owners and millionaire smarts coaching program, which supplies done-for-you content coaching for other coaches and businesses. Lee currently hosts, and some of you know this, the Blonde Warrior Solutions on Rumble, and which airs weekly on every Wednesday. And I've been a guest on there, I think, 3 times now. Whoa, how much fun is that? Lee hosted America's Premier Experts TV show, which aired on NBC. And then she has here BS, but I think she meant CBS. ABC and Fox affiliates. But you know what? BS works as well because we know these places, you know? Lee, welcome into the program. So good to see you, my dear friend.
Thank you so much, Robert. That was very funny. The BS, the show was on BS. Yes, it was on mainstream BS.
That's right.
Completely correct. I didn't know it at the time, by the way, but looking back, yes, BS.
BS. Well, that's a typo on the website, so you may want to have your staff go in and fix the BS.
I will do that. Yes. The number of typos on the website, that's an everyday thing.
Oh, it is. It is. It's what burned me out when I used to do web development for companies, and it was just constantly going back and fixing nonsense things like that. Like, enough. I can't deal anymore. So we have a crazy world that we're living in. And I get a lot of people asking and saying, hey, where's the hope in all of this? Where's the bright spot? How do I navigate it all? Every day, I'm in the news feeds regularly because we have to do this show, do a lot of research. I read, 50, 70 stories a day to be able to present literally about a dozen stories. And there's not a whole lot of great news out there, although there are bright spots here and there. If you really look for them, we're starting to find them more and more. But a lot of people, they get lost in the jungle of negativity. And you and I, we're both very gifted in terms of, we could see through a lot of it and we can see above it. And we try to do our best to keep our mind on the goal, right? Keep focus on what's coming. So we're going to have a talk about that today. I think that's where your brilliance will shine for sure, be able to tell people, give them some advice, give them some hints, give them some strategies that they can use to kind of navigate some of this stuff because, boy, it gets heavy at times. Are you feeling the same thing? Are you really getting that from people that they're kind of lost in this jungle of craziness?
I love this term, lost in the jungle. I actually just wrote that down. It's absolutely correct. The more you are around people, it's very clear that the world has divided into 2 sections. And that one section is we're just going to follow the agenda, whatever the news says, whatever the government says, whatever the medical profession says. We're just going to do that. And we have to understand something about those people. They are completely brain locked, that they have been fed an agenda that they believe. They cannot see evidence that doesn't support that agenda. It doesn't make any difference how many articles you send them or clips or books or proof. It's almost like I'm going to put my hands over my ears and my eyes, and I really don't want to know.
Yep.
I actually had a couple of ladies I was sitting next to waiting for a plane, and this conversation came up, and I started telling them things, and both of them said almost at the same time, I don't want to know about this. I don't want to believe that I live in a world that my government would betray me or my doctors would betray me. I just really don't want to do that. So those those are that side. And then there's the usoms, you and I,
The
and a lot of
usums.
other people that are blessed and cursed. We're blessed in the sense that we have very strong intuitions. Our gut works really well. Our intuition, our discernment is very spot on. This is truth. This is not truth. This is complete BS. This is almost insanity, hilarious that they're promoting this stuff, and yet people are buying it hook, line, and sinker. So the blessings is that we haven't done things to our bodies or to our minds that are going to have really long-term effects. The curse is that sometimes we feel very lonely in the world, and we've lost a lot of people. I've lost family, I've lost friends, I've lost what I thought were friends, because I'm vocal, I'm truthful, I'm direct, I'm to the point. I have things to back up what I'm saying. And it's so uncomfortable for other people. They're just going to stay in that world. So, as you were saying, one of the things we have to do is, because we're seeing life from a different perspective, is really be careful of who and what gets in our mind, what kind of environments we put ourselves in. There is no need for you to keep wasting your life energy trying to convince people of something that, again, their brain is actually locked. There's a lot of books on mindset about, our cognitive, ability to accept new ideas. And when people have absolutely bought the Kool-Aid and have decided to drink it continuously, there's no need to talk to them about that. So I do want to share this with you. I don't think we've actually ever talked about that. I've actually looked back since this all kind of crazy started. Well, it's actually been going on a very, very long
Oh
time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
most of us really started being, scratching our head, well, what is going on, around, what was it, April 2020, something like that.
Yep.
Um, I look back since from today, which is June 13th, 2024, and I look how my business shifted. And I will be transparent, is that I got caught up in the anger, I got caught up in the frustration, I got caught up in the negative energy, and I felt very helpless to not only change, my business circumstances from everything shut down, we can't move, we can't do this, we can't do that. And I didn't, as you know, I followed no rules, no mask, nothing. I actually had a little sign on my office door. We had a real office at the time that said, mask not allowed. And this was just hilarious to me, but upset people beyond words. But anyway, I realized that I personally, because of my being so upset and keeping my energy field in such chaos, that I actually shut down my own manifesting abilities. I shut down a lot of my own prosperity
Yep.
because I was focused on the wrong thing. I was focused on that I was mad, that this was insane, that I didn't want my life to be like this. I was focused on how, just how could people be this blind? And
Yep.
and as I look back, I missed opportunities. I, lost income, missed income because I wasn't in a vibrational frequency to be, as they say in the law of attraction, if we want to work with you. Nobody wants to work with mad people. I mean, let's face it, we don't
Oh,
want
it's
to
so
work with,
true. Yep.
and no matter what little mask you put on, your energy field speaks louder than your
Yes, it
words. Your
does.
energy field speaks louder than the
Hmm.
mask that you can put on. So I don't know. Sometimes last year, I actually had a little come to Jesus talk with myself, and I looked in the mirror and I said, "This is over. I am no longer allowing myself to be mad about situations that I cannot control. I am no longer going to be mad about people that I've loved and cared about that won't listen to me. I'm surrendering them to their own destiny because I don't have the power to change them.
Correct.
And so since then, my business has really started to thrive again. Lots of speaking engagements and big speaking engagements. Um, I just booked a TV deal. I'm really pleased about. I can't talk about yet because it's not signed, but the ink's not quite dry on yet. But things are starting to come to me. I did create this. You mentioned Alchemist Inner Circle. Um, I had dinner with a girlfriend there a couple of nights ago, and she said to me, she said, I remember us having dinner and you saying to me last year sometime that you were just completely tired of regurgitating a lot of the old success stuff that you had taught for 20 years that had been very successful, very profitable to you, but that you were just fatigued with it. And then you just said to me one day, I'm going to start this thing that I personally want to do. I would be really mad at myself if I didn't do this.
Right.
So the Alchemist Inner Circle, I started it, which is teaching success, but from a much deeper level of manifestation and creativity and vibrations, and everything is energy. And even though the basic foundations of success are still there, you can't throw those away. I've stopped regurgitating the Napoleon Hill quotes, you know, kind of thing, and just broken out and just done my thing, Robert. And the shift, and point of all telling everyone this is because we have to shift. We have to shift into this reality and vibration of I'm in charge of my future. The world's going to do whatever the world's going to do. I want to know what's going on. That's why I watch your show, because you actually tell the truth. But I'm going to now be more, I'm an observer. I'm going to be more neutral. I'm going to observe the situation and not feel emotionally beat up, emotionally scared, emotionally like, oh my God, where are we going with this? How will anybody survive this as an entrepreneur or, someone in business? And so again, now what I actually did, which is the title of one of my new books, Activate Your Inner Power. I wrote this book during this whole thing, which is just, positive information. And so what I've done is I've actually decided that I'm going to activate my life and that I will observe the world. I will be the best I can be in the world, but I'm not responsible for the world anymore. In fact, I have officially resigned as the manager of the world. And that sounds silly, but think about
Oh
how
my
much
gosh, that is so true. That is so true for so many.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us have taken it to heart of
Yep.
I'm out here, I'm actually sacrificing my income, sacrificing my time, donating my time. Instead of marketing my own business, I'm attempting to wake people up. And now I'm at the point of, I realize now that a lot of people are going to have to suffer some horrible, horrific thing before they wake up. And I can't fix that.
No,
All
it's a
I can
coming to
really do.
Jesus moment. And you're right. It's like if you look at the alcoholic will not look for help until everything crashes. They lose their spouse, they lose their house, they lose their job, they've got no more money, they end up on the street. At that point, they may be open to some help. And there's another aspect to this which I think we need to pay attention to, which is not widely known. Those people who took the little jibber jab there, apparently one of the things that jab does is makes it very difficult for a person to change their beliefs. So if they've in the narrative and they're believing the narrative, this is why it's like talking to a brick wall. Sometimes they actually can't change their mind. I think it's just fascinating to hear that. There's this doctor that came out. I've got to get him on the show. I really want to find out more about this. But they've been doing the research on this, and they said they have inability to change their mind, no matter how much proof you bring to them. Stacks and stacks and stacks of proof. So a lot of us are finding that, Lee. We're just finding that it's like talking to they're going to populate like rabbits, right? And all of a sudden, our population, the American patriots, they want to get rid of. And that seems to be the process that we're involved in right now. Scary to think that way, but there are a lot of people that have that.
It's completely scary.
Yeah.
there've been, and I'm unable to cite all the movies. I'm sure you could research those if you're looking, but there's been a lot of movies of predictive things that were going to happen.
Yep.
Um, and as it turned out, those scripts came from somewhere.
Oh yeah, they didn't
Uh,
come out of the ethers, right? Yeah.
that's exactly right. So
Hmm.
they like to warn, they like in television and media and movies in particular, they like to do predictive programming. These, zombie things are going to happen because it neutralizes the brain of, people aren't horrified. Well, I've seen that on TV. It's just fiction. But what's really happening in the world is something none of us could have ever imagined. I'm kind of glad that both of my parents have passed on before any of this happened. They would have not done well with this at all. Um, so it is what it is, but what can we do about that? And I believe what we have to do is really hunker down and decide,
Yep.
I'm surviving no matter what.
Yep.
I am going to thrive no matter what. I am adaptable. I am fluid. I am flexible. Um, I have to know when to go into systems and where I can work with them and where I can't work with them. I have to know that I have to know my rights. And that was actually the pandemic.
Exactly right. Yep.
Uh, I talked my doctor into giving me a prescription that I did not have to wear a mask. I swear I did. I'm very good at influencing. When I want something, I want something. And so I talked to her. It was a different doctor I'm talking about today. I talked to this doctor into giving me that, and I would present it. I had it. I had photocopies and sent it to every place that was doing that. Some honored it, most didn't honor it. And I just said, well, look, I got a prescription, and it trumps your rule from the government. My prescription trumps your rule.
Yeah. It's not a law.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
have
a
to very
mandate, right?
deliberately
Yeah.
the mandate.
Yeah.
So now what I'm doing is I'm very careful not to absorb data too early in the morning, that I get up in the morning and I do spiritual practices. I do my prayers, I do meditation, I do scripting about what a great future I'm going to have. I wire my brain to look for what's good in life. I've become much more homebound in the sense of I don't I don't feel the need to go out into the world and be a preacher on on the corner or standing on a box telling people. And where I used to do that, now I'm just observing people and their insanity. And by the, I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. There are people who are still wearing masks. And by the way, they will wear masks the rest of their life.
Yes, they will.
It's usually older women and older men, but they're going to wear masks, and there's no need to try to talk to them about the dentist saying if you wear a mask you're going to ruin your teeth. By the way, the dentists are thriving because of the mask, because of all the problems that people didn't change their masks enough, so all that bacteria
Yep.
created all this. I mean, I just spoke at a big dentist thing, and this is one of the best things ever happened to them. The people, their teeth are completely messed up.
Yeah. Well, if you look at your dentist, right? Your dentist walks into the treatment room, he puts on the mask or she puts on the mask, and what do they do when they leave the treatment room? The mask
They
is
take it
off
off
and it's in the
and throw it
garbage.
away. Exactly.
Yep.
They're literally supposed to put on a new mask for every
Every patient.
patient.
Yep. That's what they do.
Yes.
Yep.
I have friends who work in the hospital say that's not true. The people in the hospital. By the way, anybody going to the hospital, you're in the worst place on earth. I mean, it's a petri dish of, danger. But I guess what I'm really saying to you, Robert, is I'm deliberately choosing to listen to podcasts like yours, to listen to things that are uplifting. I've made a decision. I'm going to be a good role model, and I'm going to be kind to people, and I'm not going to be mad at them anymore, because I was mad for 3 years, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
I was mad,
Yeah.
and that really messes your whole day up. Because when you're mad about one thing, it bleeds into everything.
Oh boy, does it ever. Yep. And the question I always ask too is like, is this worth my happiness and getting upset about this. And you see these posts on social. Sometimes you scroll on Facebook, you see these posts, you just want to reach out and throttle these people. And it's like, is it really worth my happiness? No, keep scrolling. They're lost. Some people are not going to be able to be saved. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. And we do have free will. We get to make the choice, make the decision. And you're making the choice not to be angry anymore. That's fantastic. That's what we need to do.
I deleted over 1,400 people on Facebook in the last 3 years.
Wow.
100.
Wow.
As soon as I would see this crazy stuff, I would just go hit block, see this person anymore. And these were some people that I used to do business with, were past clients, were past friends. But the only way not to engage with them is just not to see or enact with them, entangle myself with their energy field.
Exactly.
And, and the other thing people really should do is go back into your library and find books in your life that really zinged you and gave you energy and excitement, and go back and read those books that uplifted you. Really, we got off regular television. There's no news in our house. My husband sneaks news occasionally when I'm not here and cuts it off the second I come home. But for the most part, I mean, we're watching like old shows, like honest to God, you know what we're watching right now? The Mentalist, which is 10 years old.
Wow.
I don't know if you remember that show, The Mentalist.
10 years old? I think it's much older than that, isn't it?
It's probably older. Maybe it's 14 years old. But anyway, we're going back before the craziness and watching Longmire and The Mentalist and crazy stuff like NYPD. I mean, that's like 25 years old.
Yeah.
And, this is where anybody could make fun of people. And, it was the way we used to live. And there's this nostalgia about these old shows of, that's how, you can make fun of people and they weren't. So I'm doing all kinds of things to not allow reality to interfere with my health, because by the way, when you're upset all the time, it definitely messes with you.
Yeah. Every cell in your body knows you're upset and doesn't know why. And then it secretes toxins, and it's hard on the liver because that's where all the emotions are. And it's detrimental. So you've got to find a way to put a little smile on your face every day. And it's really a good practice, Lee, to do that first thing in the morning, is just to, not tune into anything. You don't know what's going on. You just live your life. And I tell people this too. The truth of the matter is, everything that's going on, the majority of it is happening out there, not happening to you directly. So come back to your center. How's my day? Well, I'm above ground. I'm okay. I've got food. I've got a roof over my head. Really not that bad if you think about it. Yeah, gas is expensive. Groceries are expensive. We know we're fighting those battles. We're going to win that eventually. But it's not in this moment. Right?
That is right. Years ago, I was a professional photographer and I traveled around the world, and I would be gone like 3 months at a time. I'd take trips to Africa and Israel and Egypt, and, I'd be gone all this time. I never saw the newspaper, heard the news, didn't know anything that was happening. And I remember coming back one time from one of these trips and going, wow, how depressing. I'm so glad I missed all that because I paid no attention while I was, traveling abroad.
Yep.
It's like, I'm not even in the United States. I can't worry about what the crazy president is doing or what our Congress is doing or what anybody's doing. I'm just like, I'm taking pictures, I'm getting paid for them, I'm having a good time, having a good life, and I'll deal with it when I get back. So I know people have heard this before, but I think people have, habits are very easy to, all you have to do things is a few times and it becomes a habit. I think a lot of usums have gotten into the habit of feeling sad and frustrated and upset about reality. I think it is our job now. A good friend of mine calls us the mop-up crew, that we're here now, that we were born literally to be at this time, which kind of, just in of itself is a little annoying, I had this really nice life planned, and, 3 years ago, everything kind of messed up the plan. But now I'm like, okay, well, the earth is going to do what they're going to do, but I am still going to thrive. because what are my other choices?
Exactly. You want to suffer? No, nobody wants to suffer. You want to be healthy? Of course we want to be healthy. And it's really managing the mind is really what it's all about. I mean, if you look at this whole game that we're playing, I told Lewis this right at the beginning. I said, Lewis, if we're doing the news every day and it's negatively impacting me, if I'm not able to, continue and be happy and all that, I'm out. I'm done. And I have to work at it sometimes because sometimes you're just looking at this stuff for hours and it's just so negative and it's so hard. I go outside, take a walk, clear my head, then I can come back to it. But I have to work at it. It's not, effortless.
I have found, and you may have found this too, that my patience level is a little shorter
Mm-hmm.
in the fact that things that I used to be more patient about, now that I can see through everything and I know, where the roots are and how people are thinking, I like have no more patience with that. So I don't do business with those people anymore. As a matter of fact, uh, Rite Aid is closing all of their drugstores in my area. And I didn't even know this was happening. And I drove by three of them yesterday on a way to my appointment. And I was like, big signs, closing store, closing store. And I had some real sort of knockdown, drag out conversations at Rite Aid about, you know, their rules. And the latest thing that they did is they spent millions of dollars refurbishing and upgrading all of their stores
Hmm.
to self-service. And so the last few times I went in there, I kept saying to the people, you got to have someone to come help me because I don't work here and I am not checking myself out. I know people like that. That's
Yeah,
fine. I don't
absolutely. Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just stand at the front and ring the bell and say, I need help. And they'd go, what do you need help with? And I said, I want to check out. And they'd go, well, this is how you do it. And I went, no, I don't work here. I absolutely am not checking out.
Yep.
And I'm happy to leave the stuff on the counter and leave, which I did many times. So I'm not sad about these woke companies who have decided that they have an agenda. They're going to take control of us. So the number of companies that I have eliminated in my life to work with and services and people, it's actually saved me a lot of money because I'm how women like
Leave it to
to,
Lee. Always looking at the bright side. I love it.
well, it is saved me a lot of money because
Yeah.
I used to use retail therapy. And,
Mm-hmm.
and, and every woman who's listening to this will know exactly
We'll
what I'm
know
talking
exactly.
about.
Yep, I know exactly what it is.
You know, you'll get the credit cards from retail therapy.
Yep.
So, you're feeling very upset about something. You're just going to go into a nice retail place you like, and maybe you'll find something you like that you don't even need, but it's cute. Okay.
Yep.
It's cute. This is the number one word said in retail outlets by women. Oh, isn't that cute? And I always walk by and go, yeah, something else to dust and insure.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
all these companies that have shown their true colors, and we can go on in many ways with certain colors, the rainbows and, Target and, targeting the little children. I refuse to give them a penny. And so go bankrupt if you like. It's a lot of people like me in the world who are just not going to support, like Bed Bath and Beyond. Do you remember that store?
Well, Bed Bath and Bankrupt now. I think they call them.
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
went completely bankrupt.
Yep.
Now, my average bill per month in Bed Bath and Beyond was over $1,000 because
Wow.
they had, they just had so much stuff in the, like any kind of cosmetics or, creams and this and that and Band-Aids. They had all that kind of stuff. So I replaced the drugstore, grocery store stuff at Bed Bath and Beyond. And when they dropped all the pillow guy, my pillow guy,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mike
he
Lindell.
was
Yep.
for Trump, I not only did I used to spend hours a day calling corporations complaining about their woke behavior, that was completely a waste of my time because
Yeah.
I would just get myself all upset. I just said, I refuse to spend money with you anymore. And I used to joke, I personally keep Virginia Beach alive economically. Okay. And when I decide I'm not going to work with a store, I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Do not shop at Bed Bath and Beyond. We do not want to give our money to those people. And not only did they go in debt $168 million, so something was wrong there. And like, we can even just touch on going to the grocery store today and looking at the ingredients of poison actually in our food.
Yep.
Like all of the natural foods that like an apple cider vinegar was a very famous brand. They were
Brags.
all
Yep.
based, yes,
Mm-hmm.
Brags.
Yep.
Home-based or done from love. All of those companies have been bought out, and within 2
By
years,
Quaker Oats and Coca-Cola and yeah, the big corporations, they ruined them. They ruined all the products.
but it's deliberate poison.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even in some of the vitamins, we're big health people in my house here, and we buy lots of vitamins. And we would start research. There was cyanide, honest to God, cyanide in some of the vitamins. And once we started realizing that, not only did we throw away hundreds of dollars worth of stuff, you know, I have created form letters that say my position in things, and I only have to just go in and put in a beginning paragraph that makes it customized to that particular company, because it's pretty much the same stuff. And this is how much of a rebel I've been in life, the hours I've spent saying, I'm not playing this game. I'm not going to follow your agenda. I'm not going to buy these products. And look at how many are going down.
Well, I think that's the truth. I mean, the power we have is to vote with our dollars. Our vote doesn't count anymore, but we can always vote with dollars, and they can't change that. And it's shocking to me that some of these, if you think we're business people, we're marketing people, we've been doing this for our entire career. You think about this, it's like, how can they sit in the boardroom and prioritize what is literally 4% of the population over 96% of the population? Let's alienate 96% of our market and we'll highlight this 4%. How does that even pass in a boardroom? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because so many of them are tied to BlackRock and all these different companies that have controls over them in ways that we can't even fathom,
Right.
that have control. So there is this agenda to really take all the corporations and force upon the people, that this is your new life. You're going to have to just eat this poison that we're going to serve you. You're going to have to bow to our rules. And then the whole thing is about us being so dependent on the government that they can give us a stipend every month. And then, the next thing we'll know, we'll be in a 15-minute city where, we can go on and on. I mean, the list is endless that can happen. And I'm pretty much knowing, no, I will move out into the middle of nowhere on a farm and have no internet and just live my life. I grew up on a farm ranch.
Yep.
I can do that again. It's the hardest work on earth, which it's the hardest work on earth, to have land and farm. And it's always, the
There's always
biggest storm.
something broken, always something needing attention. Exactly. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
continuously.
Mhm.
And I always joke that people who have ranches and farms, they live like different people, because you have to deal with people, you have to deal with animals, and you have to deal with the weather. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a problem with those three, elements in your life on top of government and other people. But I'm at this point that I'm just speaking my mind. I have no fear of doing that. Um, I've lived a really good life. I plan on continuing to live a good life. I've created a life for myself where I don't think people expect me to follow the agenda. I mean, that wouldn't be the person they know. I would be betraying myself and my own family to pretend that I'm going to go along to get along, because I'm perfectly happy to be without everybody.
Well,
Everybody.
what's interesting now is that they're turning the corner. A lot of them are coming back now and asking, it's like, oh, what do we need to do? What do we, it's like I'm getting that more and more. You still have people who are on the other side, and I give up on them because they can't be helped at this point. If you don't see that this country is on the bullet train to communism, if you can't see that yet, I can't help you. I really can't. But if you're asking questions, I'm there for you.
Yes.
You know?
And, all these, just like, all these things with the campuses, um, who's controlling these people who are feeding these kids this indoctrination that socialism is good? Um, I had a TV show in Canada many years ago, and it was socialist then. It's communist now.
Right.
But I remember saying at the time to the people I worked with and friends I had there, I said, I'm really not into socialism. You know, I don't want you sending me a check every month. I want to be free from government control.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen Venezuela. I've seen countries that, the poverty is just jaw-dropping. And unless people travel the world like I did and see the good, the bad, and the ugly, because, I was a landscape photographer, so I wasn't just in the pretty cities. I was out, in the mountains and talking to people, and you go to, can go to Africa and, I spent 3 months in Africa. It's jaw-dropping how little they have. And when the governments come in and control them and the brutality, people just don't, I don't know if they're just narrow-minded or they're uneducated or they don't care, but they don't seem to be aware that there are factors going on in the world that are very detrimental.
Yeah.
It's just like la-li-da, la-li-da.
Well, I think you said it right. It's that some people don't want to know, and they'll block it out. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to believe that they've been lied to. They don't want to believe that they bought the lie, that they made a decision that was a mistake to make. Looking back, I know a lot of people who got the jabs, for instance, they say it was a mistake. They shouldn't have never have done it. And they were coerced into it. Some people wanted to travel. Other people wanted to continue to keep their jobs and this and that. It's like you're giving up your life, your health, for a job.
Or a temporary job, because no job is permanent.
No, exactly.
Job.
Yeah.
It's called a job for a reason.
And
Yes.
a year later, all those mandates went away. So you sit on the sidelines for a year. We knew it wasn't going to last.
Well,
Hard for
I
some
had
people.
friends who wanted to travel, and so they got tested numerous times.
Yep.
Which, as we now have learned, the test isn't really a test. It's,
Never
other
was.
various things going on with that. I've never got a test. I turned down all, not that anybody was begging me to come overseas or anything, but I turned down all work that had to medications. And I would go with her and talk to her. Our parents, usually have that lazy Susan with all their little pills and the salt and pepper on
Yep.
it in the middle of people. And I'd come there and I'd go, Mom, you got all these medications, and then when I'd go Google them and print out the side effects, it completely showed everything she had. And I'd
Wow.
say, let's just for 1 month take you off everything. She got so much better in that 1 month. Her cognitive ability improved, her health improved, her energy improved. She looked better. First time she went back to the doctor, he put them on her all back and told her, swear to God, told her not to show them to me.
Wow.
He told my mother, if your daughter is so nosy that she has to show you this, you should not show her this. Now, hey, I can't do this live on air, what I wrote to this doctor. And that, if I could have him, thrown out, I would, because he was a very,
Yeah, you can't do that.
he was getting commission on all of those meds. He died.
No, they don't.
Yes.
I can't believe the doctors are in that role, but they are in that role. They don't care. They really don't. Crazy.
So today on Facebook, I actually posted it was a religious figure. I have no idea who he was. And he was just talking about the pharmaceutical company. By the way, I'll get no views whatsoever because of this. They'll probably block me. But he's basically saying the pharmaceutical companies are creating drugs that give you side effects, and the side effects are hurting you. And that isn't the point. Their drugs were not designed to actually heal you because there's no money in healing you.
Correct.
There's only money in you being
Yep.
sick and going to the hospital and feeding the doctors and all the tests and all this stuff.
Yep.
And so, like that, I believe she would have lived another 10 years had
Oh
she
yeah.
not had
I,
this.
I I agree with you there. No question.
I just became very forceful about, oh, by the way, I am on no medications and have not taken I've really never been on any serious medications in my entire life. Maybe a little bout of, you know, antibiotics if I got sick, many years ago, but nothing really.
Yeah.
And I am one of the healthiest people I know.
You look great.
Well,
Absolutely.
thanks.
Lee, how
Oh, I'm
do people
150.
follow up with you? Where do you want to send them?
Okay, so you can go to milteer.com and you can sign up for my free e-zine. It's called Activate Your Inner Power. And every Tuesday and Thursday, I give you a free e-zine about feeling good about yourself. You can also sign up. I'm not sure we're going to be here. 5typesofenergy.com. And 5typesofenergy.com is 5 short little videos. They're 5 minutes each, and they're on mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial energy. And that is your life currency. Really simple to watch. It'll give you a lot of techniques and information about how to really call back your energy and be more powerful. So they're played in organizations and churches and schools, and I give them away because it's my contribution to people to know that those are the 5 energies you work with every single day: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial. So go to the 5typesofenergy.com.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Lee. You and I can go on for hours, and we're going to definitely bring you back for another interview because there's more to talk about. There always is. I appreciate
Well,
you so
thank you so
much.
much, Robert. I really admire you for everything that you're doing. And, I don't think people understand the sacrifice that people like you are doing every day, the time and the energy and the tech knowledge and, getting the guests together. I mean, it's like a full-time job that's not being paid for.
It pretty
And
much is. Yeah, exactly right. Yep. But
it's really it's a heart energy that you are, creating in the world. So I really want to thank you and congratulate you. And there's a very great place in heaven for you for all this good work.
oh, glad to hear that. Thank you so much, Lee. I so appreciate you. This has been amazing. I appreciate the time.